Michelle of Lester and Michelle Spiritual Services and Botanics. Today, I'd like to make a video about something that came to my mind, which is enabling parents and how they can be just as harmful as abusive parents, overtly abusive parents. Um, Enabling parents, they do not allow you to grow and flourish. They kind of put a cap on your growth by way of just not giving you that type of tough love or any lessons. There's no lessons to be had. If you ask for something, they just give it to you. So, um, maybe my first example would be if you need money, if you're low on money, and this is kind of a recurring theme, whether you just don't manage your money well or just there's money issues and you're a grown adult, able-bodied person, but yet you always end up in this circumstance where you're not able to pay for basic needs and necessities, and you're lucky enough to still have your parents alive. So you call your parents, you're on good terms, obviously, or else they wouldn't give you anything, or you wouldn't call them. And instead of, after the umpteenth time of you borrowing money from them, or even fixing your mouth to borrow money from them, they say, "Oh yeah, 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 okay, sure, I'll go, to the bank today, or I'll do the wire, or give me your, app payments, blah blah. It'll be there shortly." Instead of doing that, what would be the growth mindset to do? What would be the wise thing to do as a parent is really not to continue give you what you want. That could be seen as cruel or heartless to some, but how am I helping you as my child, adult child? Or, even, of course, this could be many ages, but for this specific example, how am I helping you by continuing to give you money? And let's even add a scenario where you are shacking up, they call it, with this man. You're not married, maybe you have kids, maybe not. But moral of the story is you're continuously struggling, you're continuously not being able to afford your basic needs. But this man who's shacking up with you does not intervene and try to prevent you from struggling so much. They don't try to help. He just kind of watches you suffer and struggle and go ask your parents or mom for money. Um, that's a problem for many reasons. And if or if my child called me asking me, oh, this is 10th whatever time within 3 years or something, I'm low on blah blah bill, we really need this. How am I going to set myself up for the future as an older person, even? Not just presently, because you could be a young parent. Not just presently, but for generations, for years to come. How am I going to set myself up to be comfortable, to be well, to be healthy, to be taken care of in my older age, if I'm too busy taking care of my my adult children who can very well take care of themselves? Why would I sit there and take away their ability to take care of themselves? Do you actually love them, or do you just want to throw your money? Do you just want to throw things at them, and do you want to just, oh, scrap it up and forget about it, throw money at them and forget about the problem? Or do you actually want to get to a solution? Because the wise thing to do would be to teach them a lesson, like, look, this is your 10th, 5th, whatever time asking me for money. I know the abilities and skills that you have. I know the ideas and goals that you have for your future, for your career. You're getting cut off because this is ridiculous. Not only because you are, as I said, this talented, full body, able bodied, individual who can do it on your own. I know you can do it. You can be making 6 figures if you wanted to, but you're not really trying. And this is concerning, and I'm not interested in enabling you to continue doing this. I care about you, which is why I'm cutting you off, and why you need to learn a lesson and figure out how to do these things yourself. My money is my money. You're not a dependent anymore. Not a dependent anymore. No. No, 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 no. N-O. N-O. If they really care about you and your growth, they would be able to say, no, I can't do this. You know, you're a talented individual, you're a go-getter, or maybe they're not a go-getter, whatever the scenario. And even listing certain gifts. You know, I've seen you do this one thing and it was amazing, and that can actually go somewhere. Or you accomplished all these certificates or degrees. What happened to that? Where is your devotion? Where is your self-respect and dignity? Where is it? Because one thing about it, you're not my dependent anymore. Parents, as adults, even if they're not elderly yet, they should be able to enjoy their finances and everything that they worked for. Hello, don't be selfish. There's too much, there's so much money to go around in reality. So we can't be doing this, oh, poor me, I need my parents to feel bad for me. That's the only way I can get some money, or that's the only way I can get my needs met. Blah, blah. Get out of this victim mindset and stop thinking people owe you anything. Boss up and do what you need to do to get to that space. Get away from these bum ass people and dudes who are willingly watching you struggle. They have no interest in helping you. They have no interest in adding to your life. They're really taking, clearly. Get your mind right. Get your mental health together. Get your spirituality together. If you're religious, go to church, join your communities, do what needs to be done, but don't let your parents enable you, and recognize these behaviors and how they're holding you back. Oh yeah, you know, if you're not at the maturity level, you're gonna brag, oh, I can just ask my parents for money and they're just gonna give it to me, and da, 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 da. Guess what? That's not actually helping you, and it's nothing to brag about. They just want to keep you small and dependent on them. That way, whenever you know, you're much more controllable in that fashion, and you're much more docile, and you're able to give them some sort of love or acceptance if they're giving you money. But if they put their boundaries up and say, hey, this is my money, I'm tired of you acting like I owe you all this shit, and you're not handicapped, you're not with Down syndrome, you're not extremely how do they call it, you're an able-bodied person. So, with that, you should be able to do you. And enabling parents, they don't allow you to do you in that regard, which would lead to so much growth internally, which would yield results externally. They're not allowing you to make mistakes and to grow. It's easy to fix your mouth and ask for something, depending. Obviously, there's certain scenarios. We're not talking about the enabling parents or we're not talking about the scenarios where somebody is not doing the victim mind complex. Like, there can be situations where, say, you have so much dignity and self respect, you don't know how to ask, you don't like asking for things. It's horrible to ask for stuff, you feel small, you feel ridiculous. But the one time you do ask, that was like such a freaking blessing and the answer to your prayers, and you never need it again, or it only happened one other time and that was it. We're not talking about this, but those are strong people who have found their inner strength to be independent or find ways to access that inside of themselves. I'm not talking about those. We're specifically talking about these scenarios where people just feel entitled to all these things. So maybe even going on to a different scenario as far as enabling parents, they will enable shitty behavior just so that, and this goes many ways, just so that they won't have to recognize their own faults and their own, you know, how they didn't teach you certain things. So if your son is a woman beater or something, you're going to gaslight this girlfriend or wife who's telling you, even has proof in many cases, that this is a problem. Your son is freaking abusive. He's crazy as hell. I can't rest. I can't sleep. Like, it's horrible. Here's my scars. Like, and she just kind of, oh, well, maybe you did something. Or you should stay in your place. Or, well, you did have an attitude. Or, uh, there's no excuse. There's certain boundaries you cannot cross, and there's no excusing it. So, this mother in that scenario is holding back her son from growing as a person, actually dealing with his deeper self, hurts and betrayals and depression and whatever he went through as a kid. And instead of putting him in his place and holding him accountable, this is horrible behavior. You need to change something. This is not cute. I'm not going to cover up for you. I can't believe I didn't notice this about you, or I feel horrible. That the mother has to be able to be honest about that. I don't feel good about this. You need to do something. You need to go get help. You shouldn't be putting your hands on somebody. You shouldn't be mentally, verbally, physically, anything abusing somebody, especially a partner that you want to spend your life with, or you want them, to represent you well or to enhance your life. It doesn't go. It doesn't correlate. So, just enabling behaviors, enabling habits and mind patterns and emotional patterns. Ideally, a wise, a spiritual, even parent will say, I prefer to teach you a lesson. And I prefer, to kind of put you in your place. rather than give you what you want. Because money and bills, the bills are always going to come up. What's going to happen next month, and the month after that, and the month after that? It's the old adage, you can't bring a horse to the water, but you can teach him how to drink, something like that. My bad, I'm not that good at those. But that's, you know, um, and we all have to break out of that chain if there's any remnants of enabling parents. You have to step out and say, look, this is cool and all. This is, you think this is the perfect way or the ideal way to show your love for me, but in reality, I need someone who's going to lift me up and not just tell me, oh, you know, you can always come home if things don't work out. If things don't work out, it's going to work out. One way or another, mistake after mistake, it's going to work out. I need, parent or not, now we're talking about people in general, relationships that you have in your life. I need people in my life who are going to uplift me in times of despair. I need you to help me have my 2 feet, not keep me as a Bambi, always waiting for you and always needing your help. Let's call it as it is. That's a weak parent who needs to feel like they're needed in your life. They haven't built up the other parts of themselves, the other skills, to be able to say, you know, I don't have to do these things just for my child to love me. You know, I'm a good enough person. I've put enough into them already. I'm not going to enable them just as a way of getting some perceived love or acceptance from them. You need strong people around you who are going to pour into you, remind you of your skills, remind you of your blessings, remind you of the possibilities and the miracles. Not someone who wants to keep you behind, keep you stagnant, keep you dependent on them. So whether or not they're a good person, that's irrelevant. Good person is subjective. Good people can hold you back. It doesn't matter. Sorry, sucks to suck, but we have to be honest with ourselves. They don't have to be an evil person to be somebody to be holding you back. And sometimes that can be the hardest people to get rid of or to put boundaries up with because they're not being overtly negative. So it's harder to spot. You have to put your blinkers on to actually find it. But when you do, that is a golden ticket to actual self improvement. Okay? I'm a living proof of not being a product of my environment and bossing up and doing me and not limiting myself. And not taking no for an answer, regardless of the mistakes that are made, regardless of pitfalls or turns in the journey. So, I'll leave that there for train of thought, for to plant a seed for you to think about, to consider. And I will have more to dive in. I will have more dialogue for this in the future. But I just wanted to put this out there now. And if you made it this far, thank you very much. Sorry for my AC is on. I'm trying to speak louder as possible. I have my mic here. And blessings. I do offer spiritual readings and soul counselship. Go to my website, La Serena Michelle. And yeah, blessings on your journey.